Yo, YouTube, what is up? How are you guys doing today? It is the first YouTube video of the new year, so we are going to start off with a bang. We are still going to take a step away from doing the characters review, and we're going to keep talking a little bit about the world of One Piece. So today, I thought I'd start getting into the races that exist in the One Piece universe, and we are going to start with one of my favorite races, actually my number 2 favorite race. Today we are going to be covering and talking all about fishmen. Alright guys, so without further ado, let's just hop right on into the video. Alright, so fishmen are one of the 2 humanoid races that inhabit and rule the seas, the other being merfolk. Cover in a separate video. In terms of leadership, 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛𝚒𝚑𝚝, 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛𝚒𝚑, and 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚑𝚡 were said to have the highest respect amongst their people. They are classified as type C creatures, also known as big savage. The slave price, the average slave price or starting slave price for a fishman is 1 million berries due to their exoticness, rarity, and strength. Now, appearance. Fishmen are more fish-like than merfolk, usually looking like a combination between a man and a fish or other aquatic creatures such as octopus, manta ray, or saw shark. However, they still have legs. In fact, 𝙲𝚘n has 4, 𝙤𝚘𝚙𝚉𝚗 from the Fishman Island arc. They also have gills between their shoulders and necks, sometimes covered by their clothing, as well as often having webbed hands. Depending on species, they may have multiple limbs, mainly extra arms. However, we do see 𝙤𝚘𝚗 having multiple legs, and then the samurai from Fishman Island, whose name is Zio, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, size may also differ greatly between individuals, as Arlong was much taller than any of his crew members, but was small compared to 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚗, while Wadatsumi is even bigger than an ancient giant like Oars. So, a lot of size discrepancy amongst the fishmen themselves. For fishmen pirates and pirate crews that are primarily fishman based, such as the Sun Pirates, Arlong Pirates, and then Blue Fishman Pirates, it appears customary to have that crew's Jolly Roger tattooed somewhere on the person's body, showing their allegiance to that crew. Alright, and just like in my other videos, I am going to go over the list of known fishmen in the series. So, we will start with the pirates that we see in the series. Feel free to pause this and go through it at your own pace and leisure. You have all of these guys right here. Here we have some non-canon pirates. Most of them are from games or from filler episodes. And then we have civilians that we know of, with my favorite being Hachan. I honestly think he should be listed as a pirate due to his past involvement with pirate crews. But he is now a civilian who runs a Tokoyaki. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. He runs a food stall and he sells food to people. We see him in my favorite One Piece movie, in Stampede. You see him very briefly in like a cutscene selling food from a vending stall. So I guess technically he wouldn't be considered technically a pirate anymore. But we've got that. We've got Hack from the Revolutionary Army and Kawamatsu from the land of Wano, who because he is a fishman and fishmen are prosecuted heavily, he hides his race and he decided to call himself a Kappa, which is a Japanese water imp spirit or sprite, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, playing on to the fact that Wano is Japan, essentially. And then we have our half-humans, and then we have our Wotans. Alright, and now let's get into the biology of fishmen. Now, fishmen have gills near their necks, which only work when they are in the water. On land, they can breathe air with their lungs like humans do. However, their gills cannot breathe in air like a normal fish cannot breathe in air through their gills. Even though fishmen are part fish, or at least closer to fish biologically than they are to humans, and have been considered such by prejudiced humans in the past, they are still mammals and give birth to live young. Fishmen are also able to modulate the sounds that they make, enabling them to speak in the same language as humans. At least one fishman, 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛, has the ability to talk to other animals, such as whales, showing that a fishman's larynx may be far more adaptable and capable of more sound and languages than a human's. There are many merfolk who bear physical traits normally unique to fishmen, like Den's webbed hands and 𝚲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛𝚒's fangs. Furthermore, fishmen can sometimes demonstrate powers usually unique to merfolk, such as 𝙲𝚘𝚙's ability to communicate with whale sharks. Even with merfolk and fishmen in the same immediate family, the primary species, merfolk or fishmen, a subspecies type of fish, and appearances may differ drastically. This is the result of them still carrying the genes of their ancestors, so the appearance is not determined only by their parents. Their traits can come from anywhere in their ancestry. Humans, fishmen, and merfolk have the same blood types and can donate blood if the types match. You see this when Luffy is bleeding very heavily at the very end of the Fishman Island arc and they're asking for blood, and 𝙲𝚘𝚙, whose blood type matches, was able to do a blood transfusion to save Luffy's life. The fishman subspecies have many variations, just like merfolk, based on various types of fish. So far, with the exception of half fishman 𝚲𝚙𝚢𝚛, whose fish traits are that of a fighting fish, all known fishmen are based on real-life fish species. Also, their size may vary greatly, with 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛 being a fishman the size surpassing that of an average giant. Unlike merfolk, fishmen eat meat, including fish, although whether this is a dietary necessity or just custom is unknown. Now, speaking of 𝚲𝚙𝚢𝚛, we're going to cover hybrids very quickly. Fishmen can interbreed with other races, as revealed during the Long Land arc. With Big Pan, fishmen can breed with giants, producing a hybrid that has the biological abilities of a fishman and the huge body of a giant, but still smaller than full-blown giants, as noted by Robin. These are known as 𝚤𝚘𝚅. It is also possible for humans and fishmen, with 𝚙𝚑𝚝 and 𝚲𝚙𝚢𝚛 being examples of children produced from such unions. Interestingly, when a human and fishman interbreed, their offspring mostly resemble humans, apart from a dorsal fin and possibly other fish-like traits that are not yet shown under clothing that is in some cases retractable. Hapag explained that fishmen, and female fishmen, can have children with merfolk, mermen and mermaids. The resulting child's race can either be a fishman or merfolk. Alright, and now we're going to move on into their interspecies relationships. So, despite their opposing beliefs, fishmen usually get along with merfolk. However, it is not unknown for fishmen to take advantage of merfolk's nature. Fishmen typically consider humans to be inferior and a weaker species, and in terms of strength and ability to survive in the water, in which the world is essentially based off, it's an island planet, right? There's one continent, everything else is islands. The world is dominated by the sea, making fishmen technically, stronger, right? They can swim, they can breathe water. Humans can't. Well, humans can swim, can't breathe underwater, which makes fighting them underwater almost impossible and takes immense strength and lung capacity to even stand a chance. However, this does not apply to all fishmen who think humans are weaker. For example, Tom cared for and looked after 2 humans, icebergs, and even protected them from the actions of Spandam in Season 5. Another example is 𝙲𝚘𝚙, who considers Portgas the Ace and holds the Whitebeard pirates in high regards because of Whitebeard protecting Fishman Island. 𝙲𝚘𝚙 would later feel the same way about Ace's younger brother, Monkey D. Luffy. Fisher Tiger was noted to hate humans but chose not to discriminate when it slaves when he broke into Mary... What? I confused myself there because I wrote it down and it's spelled G-E-O-I-S-E, and I have no idea how to pronounce that. We're just gonna go with Mary Joie to free fishmen slaves. He also freed the slaves of other races as well. Additionally, Fisher Tiger did not wish to kill humans for the discrimination, as it would only cause more anger and resentment towards fishmen, and even personally returned a human slave girl back to her home. Despite the racism that Kawamatsu suffered to the point of losing his beloved mother, he did not spite humans due to being saved by the fair-minded Kozuki Oden. Furthermore, when the Straw Hats were suspected of having kidnapped several mermaids from Cove, which had actually been Caribou's doing, Some fishmen citizens insisted that the pirates should not be convicted without solid proof, implying that at least some fishmen are willing to grant humanity the benefit of the doubt. However, that was a very, very small minority of fishmen. Most fishmen in the island were very up in arms, very angry, very upset. Continuing. Despite this, Jinbei states that the majority of fishermen believe humans are violent and dangerous race who discriminate against fishmen, which historically has been proven to be very accurate. They believe any member of their species who have attempted to negotiate with or challenge humans have been defeated solely for the crime of being fishmen, which is a skewed view, but not entirely incorrect, right? I think one of the only exceptions would be Luffy when he fights fishmen. When he fights Arlong, he's not fighting Arlong because he's a fishman. He's fighting Arlong because he enslaved an island, and specifically Nami. So, moving on. Meanwhile, humans define both fishmen and merfolk as fish instead of men. This led to centuries of discrimination as fishmen fought to prove their worth to the world. Only 200 years ago did the world government begin to bridge the gap by making an alliance with Fishman Island. Jinbei's appointment to the 7 warlords of the sea was an attempt to strengthen the bonds between the races, but eventually ended in his resignation. Despite attempts at reconciliation, relations remained strained for centuries. Many humans continued to see fishmen as freaks, in the case of the 𝚲𝚙𝚑𝚝 archipelago, slaves for the world nobles. Such bad relations between the races would influence certain sects of fishmen, and these fishmen would even go as far to return to the humans what had been done to them. This was seen with Arlong Park in East Blue, where Arlong attempted to enslave the humans as they had enslaved his men and succeeded in doing so for 8 long years. Cody Jones, who admired Arlong's ideals, enslaved humans and sent them on suicide missions or dragged them through the battlefield as cannon fodder and mules. Despite the harsh relations between races, hybrids with humans do appear from time to time, such as Sappy and Dellinger. Fishmen are one of the races present in Totoland, where they live in harmony with the other races. As I said earlier also, fishmen are worth an average of 1 million berries on the slave market, making them very high-priced and desirable. Alright, moving on, we are going to cover their overall strength. So, from birth, fishmen are physically 10 times as strong as normal humans. This difference is magnified underwater, where a human's power is cut in half at the least. While fishmen are not only completely unhindered, but are even strengthened in certain cases. Jinbei himself noted that on dry land he had little power to offer. Considering the impressive strength of a fishman as powerful as Jinbei, this shows the massive difference in potential of any fishman when in water compared to on dry land. Overall, the fishman race can be considered unstoppable in battle while in their natural habitat, the sea. As expected, they are excellent swimmers and are capable of swimming through the water at a great speed and force. However, their speed is no match for merfolk, who are the fastest in the world. In addition, they can still talk underwater and cannot drown. However, breathing air into their gills makes them suffer like a normal fish would, while they use their gills to breathe in water. They have to switch back to their lungs to breathe in air. We see Sanji use this kind of technique effectively when he's fighting one of the fishmen in the Arlong Park arc. He's getting grabbed and he's getting beat pretty badly, so he grabs hold of the fishman and blows air directly into his gills, which causes him immense pain and forces him to surface so he can fix himself. So, continuing. If a fishman were to eat a devil fruit, they, like anyone who partakes of the fruit, will lose their ability to swim forever. They will still be able to breathe underwater, though they will be unable to move while in it. We see this with Vanderdecken first. The first fishman we see with the devil fruit is Vanderdecken, who walks around in a bubble full of air to allow him to move and walk on the seafloor and not, be affected. The second time we see this is when Jack the Drought, one of Kaido's right-hand men and one of his strongest supporters, who is a giant grouper fishman, when he gets absolutely mollywopped by Zunisha, he gets sent flying and then sinks to the bottom of the ocean. However, he cannot die because he is a fishman. So he just kind of sinks and then sits there, unable to move, slowly, slowly dying from starvation until he got saved. Now, continuing. Like merfolk, fishmen also possess the ability to communicate with sea creatures. In particular, fishmen seem adept at communicating with large sea monsters and possess a unique capacity to bring out the primal rage of creatures. This ability was first demonstrated when Arlong introduced Momu into induced Momu into a primal frenzy to have him attack the Straw Hats during the Battle at Arlong Park. Despite Momu's initial reservations about doing so, this ability was shown again in more detail when Hd'Syn, and to a more limited extent, officers of his crew, used it to induce the large sea monsters the new Fishman pirates had in their position in similar rage to the one created by the energy steroids they had been eating. The animal being influenced has to at least be somewhat willing to comply, as shown when Tsurume quickly stopped squeezing Shirahoshi on Hd'Syn's command due to Luffy's intervention, afterwards refused to follow any more of Hd'Syn's orders. Just as with normal merfolk, fishmen are still able to communicate with sea. Only the mermaid princess, who awakened to the power of the ancient weapon Poseidon, currently Shirahoshi, is capable of doing so. And quick little sidebar, that makes her potentially the most dangerous and strongest person in the entire world, right? She can control sea kings, and sea kings have been known to be able to destroy islands. So if she truly wanted to, she could summon all of the sea kings, all of them, if she truly wanted to. It would take a while to gather them, but she could do it, and she could destroy every island. Like, just wipe them out with the Sea King. So, moving on again. The Fishman Dojo of Fishman Island teaches the martial art Fishman Karate, with the number of fishmen having displayed skill in it. This fighting style in particular has both land and sea-based attacks, a style situated to the fishman's advantage in water, but does not leave them completely unable to defend themselves on land when they have to. The style allows the user to manipulate water, including the moisture in the air and the water inside of people's bodies. Their most effective weapon is the sea itself, as the most powerful fighters can take a few drops of water and hurl it so hard that the impact is as hard as a bullet. To this extent, in the hands of a powerful fishman, even a small splash of water becomes a lethal weapon. I believe Jinbei has the strongest water bullet attack, because I also think that Jinbei is the strongest fishman alive currently. Fishmen often have unique abilities matching those of the species they are based on, and that makes them further superior to ordinary humans outside of the physical strength difference. Hachan, being an octopus fishman, has 6 arms that give him a huge advantage over most fighters with just 2 arms, as he can spit ink to his teeth as he can spit ink to as an archerfish could chew an archerfish. Sorry, I'm looking up my script right now. An archerfish could shoot water from his mouth like a bullet, far long as a saw shark fishman could regrow his teeth after they broke. Zio is a Japanese wadegong who can camouflage himself, though only half fishman. Big Pan inherits slippery skin from his mudfish man heritage. Both Zio and Big Pan have demonstrated that a fishman's ability can be akin to that of a devil fruit. Now, members of the shark family have been seen as particularly fearsome fighters. Arlong, Jinbei, and Hody Jones, 3 members of the strongest known fishman combatants, are all shark-based breeds. The new Fishman pirates have a notably larger number of officers that are shark breeds, and the only fishman amongst the Whitebeard pirates in Namur is also a shark fishman. The shark-based breeds were confirmed to be considered a fear to other citizens on the island. Daruma attacked the citizens also expressed concern over the squid fishman crew Ikaros much, indicating that this type of fishman was also a cause for concern. Probably because he has the ability to create poison or a form of acid from his tentacles that he uses to fight people. So, fishmen who eat devil fruits and are rendered unable to swim must wear a bubble to compensate. However, their water-based abilities prove helpful, considering that in the water, most devil fruit users are rendered powerless. The devil fruit Kage no Mi in particular has little advantage at all against the fishman, who knows its fatal weakness, salt. Arlong commented on Nami's navigation skills, stating that they can learn about navigation very easily, but they cannot find a good navigator. This may indicate that the race has an overall weakness in skillful navigation. Arlong himself in particular came to admire Nami's own skills, and in a rare act considered her skills on par with the fishman's superiority, confessing that she simply could not help what species she was. As mentioned by Jinbei, fishmen can change the course of sea currents and even generate a maelstrom in a fight series, as showed when the Sun Pirates battled against the Big Mom Pirates in order to save Straw Hats. Jinbei was noted to have acknowledged the strength of Sea Kings on one occasion, thus proving that their race is aware of the danger of the Sea King's Grand Line. Alright, now we're going to move on into their beliefs and belief systems. Now, fishermen's view of life under the sea is dominated by their belief that they should rule over all fish. They also hate humans for the years of oppression and slavery that they suffered. This is not shared among all fishermen, though, as Tom, Jinbei, and Fisher Tiger have respect for humans and other races. It can also be assumed that Namur, as a commander of the mostly human Whitebeard pirates, does not share this prejudice as well. However, the new Fishman pirates, specifically the officer captain, took this hatred to irrational levels due to being raised in an environment that basked in the hatred, despite not being subjected to any oppression themselves. They were fully willing to die and destroy their own bodies to achieve their revenge in fear of the day that humans and fishfolk would coexist in their animosity. Due to the long-term neglect in the Fishman, hatred has been passed down to generation. Many fishermen, particularly pirates, also adorn symbols across their body to represent their group association. So far, the marks they have adorned include the Sun Pirates' Mark of the Sun, the Arlong Pirates' Jolly Roger, a tattoo of unknown significance, and the new Fishman Pirates' Jolly Roger of a beheaded human crossed out with the Mark of the Sun surrounding it. Hanashiro, Kisaro, Take, Shioyaki, Namur, and Tom also had other tattoos on their bodies. Due to fishmen and merfolk giving birth to children who get genetic traits from their ancestors, and thus not usually looking like their parents, they aren't surprised by the appearance of others, no matter how bizarre they may look. It also doesn't make sense to them when people discriminate against each other just because of how they look. Alright guys, that is going to be it for the video today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me all the way through. It means the world to me every single time you guys do. If you guys could like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, it would mean the world to me as a small YouTuber trying to make a name for himself. I love you guys. I do this for you. I love sharing the information. Thank you guys so much for your support, and as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.